In this video, we're going to be taking a look at if it's worth getting the 2015 MacBook Air in 2024. So the 2015 MacBook Air is quite old now. It's actually 9 years old this year, and that's pretty old for a laptop. And it's definitely starting to show its age. And we'll go over a few aspects of where it's showing its age throughout this video. Let's firstly talk about the design and durability of this laptop. This laptop is fully made out of a very solid unibody aluminium construction, and it's extremely solid. When you have this laptop on your lap or just hold it in your hand, it feels really nice and premium. The design is sleek and minimalistic and is really nice and thin, and that's one of the main things people love about these laptops. They're super thin and very light, so they're very nice and comfortable to use on your lap. Now, when it comes to durability, these laptops easily stand the test of time. I've seen many that have been through a lot in life and they're still going strong. And that's because of this aluminium construction that's super solid. Now let's talk about the display. The display on this laptop isn't the greatest. It is in between 720p and 1080p resolution. It's not as bad as the unibody MacBook Pros from 2012, but it is still reasonably low resolution in 2024. But that's not to say it's bad to use. It's still fine, and the colors on it are really good, and the viewing angles are also really good. The next thing to talk about is the keyboard and trackpad. The keyboard is really nice to type on still, and has plenty of travel. It's backlit. It's just a pleasure to use. The trackpad is also really good. It's not very big in 2024 standards. All the MacBooks now have very big trackpads, but that's not to say that this one's bad. This one's really good to use, and it's got a very nice smooth surface that is just a pleasure to use. The port selection on this laptop is a little outdated, and it also doesn't have too much variety. You have two USB Type-A ports, and then you have a Thunderbolt port, and you have the charging port and a headphone jack, as well as an SD card slot, and that's all. Nowadays, everyone's using USB Type-C, so that is one thing this laptop is lacking. And for me personally, it doesn't matter too much. I don't really use too many USB Type-C devices, but a lot of people now would find that to be quite a big limitation. Now, these laptops came in a couple of sizes. You've got a 13-inch version and an 11.6-inch version. I would say stay away from the 11.6-inch version. It's small, it has really fat bezels around the display, and it's just not a great laptop. The 13.3-inch version is the way to go, and they came in a few different processor options and RAM and storage options. You could either get it in an i5 or an i7. Both of these were low clock speed and only dual core, but they still hold up reasonably well for just basic tasks like browsing the internet and doing some basic Lightroom editing and Photoshop. And with this low clock speed, it means the laptop runs reasonably cool and the fans don't really have to turn on too much. As for the RAM, these laptops came in three different options, either 4GB, 8GB, or 16GB of RAM. I would recommend staying very clear away from 4GB of RAM. That is not enough in 2024. Even 8GB is barely enough. If you could, I would recommend getting the 16GB of RAM version with the i7. That would be the best spec that you could get, and it would be the one that would handle 2024 tasks the best. And I'd recommend picking it up with at least 256GB of storage. 512 would be my recommendation. With an i7, 16GB of RAM, and at least 256GB of storage, this laptop would still handle anything today very well. The main limitation of this would be the fact that they don't have any software updates anymore. But it still has basically every application you can download, and it'll still be like that for a few years before you'll start noticing applications won't be able to download. So I wouldn't worry too much about software updates. If you do get one, I would recommend the i7 with 256GB of storage minimum and 16GB of RAM. And then this laptop will still be able to handle 2024 tasks quite happily. So hopefully this video did help you out. If it did, drop a like on the video. If it didn't, drop a dislike on the video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.